The following is a presentation from PokerStars.com. Previously on the big game, young European pro Lex Veldhuis took a shot at kid poker with a stone bluff.
I'm all in.
But Daniel made the right call and scooped up a big pot.
I just always bluff.
While it was the loose cannon Russ Harlow who dodged a big bullet against Bonomo.
All the money.
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to go broke or not.
He didn't. At a table full of pros, can our cannon continue bobbing and weaving, or will he get knocked out? Find out tonight on the big game.
Could you feel the love?
This is the PokerStars.com Big Game.
Welcome once again to the big game from Las Vegas. Alongside Joe Stapleton, I'm Chris Rose, and tonight some of the best players in the world have gathered in our state-of-the-art poker room.
Monkey C-bet, monkey do make a profit. Barry Greenstein has been doing well, and he's up $169,000.
Young gun Justin Bonomo has had another great run here at the big game. He's up over 143 grand.
Lex Veldhuis, the Guitar Hero expert, is going to have to kick in the star power soon. He's down almost 200K.
This game isn't only for 20-somethings. Kiss the ring of the godfather of poker. Doyle Brunson's up 37K.
And this is our loose cannon Russell Harlow, who after accumulating over 16 grand in profit during his first week on the big game, risked it all to play another 150 hands this week. So far, this former Army sergeant has been doing great and is up $54,900.
Our last player, Daniel Negreanu, well, it's been a struggle for him. He's stuck over 187 grand. Right now, he's with Amanda Leatherman.
Daniel, fireworks have been exploding at this table all week long. How do you explain this?
I've never seen anything like this, but you know, sometimes when you get a bunch of guys together that all know each other, it becomes like a chess game. Like, oh, I knew that you knew that I knew you were gonna do that. And Lex, he knows exactly how I play and how I think, and I try to think how he thinks. So it's all this, like, what we call leveling. Like, we're just trying to confuse each other. And then Doyle, I always think, oh, sooner or later, he's gonna try to bluff me. Sooner or later, and
No.
every time he has it. I
Yeah,
know.
he always has
I should
it.
have went with my motto, just he always has it.
Do you think it's going to continue?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Now everyone's got a lot of chips in front of them. Some people are stuck, Moi included. So yeah, we'll be firing it in there.
All right, get out there and win some pots
All
already.
right.
Once again, each cannon staked 100 grand, and in Russell's case, his previous week's winnings as well. Cannons keep all winnings above the initial 100K, and the loose cannon who's won the most money at season's end earns a North American Poker Tour passport worth $50,000.
Right now, Nadia Magnus is the cannon Russ needs to beat to get that passport.
Is it round of straddles time?
I'm in.
All right, let's do it.
I won't be in it one time.
All right, that's what I'm talking
One
about.
thing about it, it's optional.
Huh? Oh, are you gonna be,
I'm only in if everyone's in.
Yeah, everyone's in. I think. Barry in? Everyone does it? One round?
I'm in.
Cannon folds.
Lex, I'm in. What? Bigger what? What?
We're not asking you, Lex. You can be out if you want.
You don't even have to straddle. How's that, Lex? Everyone but
Wow.
you.
What about the wine and dining? Couldn't you guys be nice to me?
Doyle raises to 3,600 with King Jack. Lex calls. Bonomo folds.
36, right?
Barry's out. Daniel calls.
That's me.
Daniel just cold called out of position. I'm not sure just how wide he thinks Lex's range is.
7-6-5. Daniel checks middle pair and an open ender. Brunson checks. Veldhuis fires 8,000.
This is a good spot to bet with an overpair and an up and down straight draw to the highest end.
Daniel calls.
I am out. Be sure they saw these two sons of
He wasn't talking about us, was he?
Good one.
Jack of clubs gives Lex a flush draw. Would have given Doyle top pair.
Oh, that's good. Built-in security.
Both check. Ace of diamonds on the river.
Both players have got some showdown value.
Check, check.
6. Ooh, I needed one of those.
Veldhuis wins a pot worth 28K.
We had clubs too, you had everything.
Hope they don't show that hand.
Sorry, Doyle.
Well, once again, these are the rules of the big game. Each table lasts exactly 150 hands. The action pre-flop is pot limit, then no limit after the flop. Blinds are 2 and 400 with a $100 ante, all of which is paid by the player on the button. Every player begins with at least 100 grand, but can reload for up to $500,000. Lex is still cleaning up his house.
I like these straddles.
Straddles? Yeah,
Straddles.
You're the best straddle player we have in the game.
Lex is a Dutch word that loosely translated means maniac.
That's what it is in that other game.
Doyle folds. Lex is out, so's Bonomo. Ace 10 for Barry in the small blind.
Barry's trying to decide how much he wants to raise this ace.
That'd be to 2,800.
Is that 28 there?
Yep. King 9 for Daniel.
Daniel might think this is ahead of Barry's blind versus blind range.
Daniel has lost several monster pots this week. Let's see how he plays it. Remember, the cannon straddled this hand, so he'll be last to act pre-flop.
I'm going to raise.
Daniel announces a raise to 8,800.
Aside from being ahead of Barry's range, Daniel might also think Barry was just picking on Russ's straddle.
In the meantime, the cannon has ace-jack and folds. So does Barry.
Well, I promise you, I'm going to 3-bet one time before this is over.
You've done it once.
You've done... No, I haven't.
Yes, you did with aces.
Oh.
Barry raised, I called, you
I'm
re-raised.
going to do it again. He puts these statistics up somewhere.
We put him right here, Doyle.
We sure do, Chris. Now, this stat is based on opportunities to 3-bet. Doyle has only done it once so far, which equals 4%, while Lex, he's 3-bet 6 times during this session. And on a side note, sources tell me Doyle watches his appearances on the big game 99% of the time.
It's on the internet.
Yeah, Doyle 3-bet one time. Everybody else 3-bet 12 times.
It's your straddle, Doyle.
Doyle had 9 pairs. Everybody else had
Doyle,
3.
it's your straddle, Doyle.
I knew he was watching.
Okay, Daniel.
I don't want you. Oops, I forgot. Oh no, what are you gonna do? Doyle had 9 pairs.
Where's that up on the...
If you go to the website, it shows all the stats.
What website?
The Big Game website.
Veldhuis raises.
I'll send you a link.
Doyle's now expecting to get a piece of sausage in the mail.
Bonomo repops. Ace-queen for Barry. Folds.
Not too tight after a raise and a re-raise.
For raises and re-raises.
Build the pots.
What's wrong with that?
Exactly.
Since when is Doyle Brunson afraid of little action?
So you don't like pot limit hold'em, but you don't like building pots either. That's just weird.
I'd like to
It's just weird.
I'd like to be able to bet it all anytime I want to.
Lex calls.
Easy, easy. Let me stack them first. Jackal.
Justin and Lex are building a pot together here.
Jack 9 king.
That looks like a flop that I completely missed.
Lex tells the truth and checks.
I swear 2,000 is enough.
Justin's not sure if he can believe Lex or not.
How's 10,000?
Plenty.
Apparently so. Well, 10 grand was more than enough for Justin to get Lex to fold.
25-year-old Z Justin has had plenty of success gathering profits on the tournament circuit as well. And this is a call to all Magic the Gathering fans. Justin Bonomo will take your action.
He's also up nearly 400 grand in 2 big game
When
appearances.
you talk about me, you got to qualify young Doyle or old Doyle.
Why, do you used to play different?
Yes.
Yes?
Oh, really?
You don't like
Flat
playing that
calling
way no
with
more?
kings and everything pre-flop. You played too much with Phil Hellmuth. You're getting trappy now.
Lex straddles, so action on Bonomo. Queen Jack suited. Raised to 2,600. Barry folds. Daniel. 8 deuce. Out. The cannon. Gets rid of his ace. Doyle. Ace queen. Calls.
That's a pretty easy defend.
Lex is out of here.
Doyle has Justin dominated.
The flop. 6 tray king, 2 hearts. Doyle still best and checks.
Doyle checks and flow. Justin had the pre-flop lead.
Fires 5,000.
Justin raised under the gun, then fired here. This would indicate strength. Let's see if Doyle still likes his ace-queen.
Likes it enough to call. 4 of hearts on the turn.
Check.
Doyle checks.
Neither player holds a heart.
You say check?
Bonomo checks.
Both players slow down on the turn.
4 diamonds on the river.
Doyle might like his hand a little bit better now that Justin checked the turn.
Makes it 17,000 to go.
Well, this is definitely a bluff.
And it works as Bonomo folds. That would be the winning hand, my friend, as Doyle Brunson scoops up a nice little pot.
Doyle bluffs him with the best hand.
The big game is just getting going. Much more from Las Vegas coming your way after this.
When people talk about what it means to be a math player, I think a lot of people misunderstand what it means. A lot of it, to be honest, is just analyzing situations over and over again, and a lot of times it happens without any actual math. So as opposed to a field player, a mathematical player might look at the turn, and he might be going through all the possible combinations of hands his opponent can have, and then figuring out which hands are more likely than the others.
Joe, I'm no John Forbes Nash Jr., but those numbers look pretty impressive.
While you do have a beautiful mind, there isn't any fancy formula to these numbers, Chris. Just addition. A lot plus a lot equals a lot. Justin Bonomo is quite simply crushing his opponents here in the big game.
How much you up now? How much you up now? Huh? No, I'm kidding. You?
A little bit.
Like 50-ish.
In the neighborhood.
So you're like nearing Nadia territory.
Oh, you can win a lot more if you win more.
She's at C163.
Something like that.
Nadia Magnus is our leading loose cannon.
Russ trailing by 10,000.
A lot of hands left to play.
So basically, if you win like 15,000 more, you could win an extra 50 for the 15.
Maybe. I mean, there's still others to
Yeah,
play.
you still got other people that could pass you.
I could at least raise the benchmark.
Yeah.
I think if he wins 70K, he's a pretty big dog for that to hold.
I disagree.
Bonomo straddles.
Yeah, there's only 4 more.
Greenstein
27.
Do
raises.
some betting after the night's over.
King 5 for Daniel.
That's like one of the coolest rules, I think, or rules, additions, is that you get the package if you're the qualifier that wins most. I think that induces action even though when
How
they're
do you
up.
qualify? Can anybody qualify?
Daniel calls.
A loose call.
Huh? What do you got to do? I'll come try to be the loose cannon.
That'd be great if we had Doyle on here as a loose cannon.
Russ calls.
Especially if you won a free roll and you made a video.
He made a video. I'm Doyle Brunson.
Just videos like 4 seconds, just him pointing at himself.
Video submissions are necessary to become a loose cannon. I'm sure Doyle's will be fantastic.
I heard he already sent one to America's Funniest Home Videos as well.
Meanwhile, we got a big pot brewing here. Russ just called with ace-king. Justin in the straddle with ace-king. We could see a lot of cash going in the middle. Justin's hand has an edge on the whole table.
He re-raises to 13-7.
This is going to look very strong, raising 3 other players.
Barry folds. Daniel's out.
Justin has made it very expensive for the amateur, but Russ is the one guy who isn't a huge dog to Justin, and he is in position.
And he sloppily calls.
Justin's got an edge because he's suited, and he knows Russ will be looking to protect his profit.
The flop, 7-deuce tray.
By 3-betting so big pre-flop, Justin has been able to make this pot uncomfortably large for Russ.
So much so it looks like the cannon might be getting sick.
Justin's out of position, but he could use this to his advantage.
Fires 15 grand.
This would be a big chunk of Russ's profits.
Terrible at this game.
Why, because you don't have a set? It's bad?
Harlow folds.
Queen's no good.
Or you think you folded the best hand again?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I think I might have been able to play a better pre-flop.
Re-raise them again?
She just called me, man.
Russ has been getting bullied a little, but I think he's doing all right on his own.
Nice hand. Thanks.
Russ made that fold to protect his profits, and even though he's questioning his play, he's still up about 40 dimes.
We doing more straddles?
I told you I'd do a round.
Okay. This is round 2 if you want to.
Without a fight.
Huh?
I said without a fight, I did it.
Yeah, you did.
And Russ is a team player.
Yeah, but everybody on the team's wearing a different uniform. Russ looking at 6 high and folds. Doyle folds. Lex, king 9. Of course he raises. Bonomo folds. Barry's out.
I call.
First time.
I know.
Nice defense.
Got a really, really good hand this time.
Ace-10 suited?
Better. Better.
I don't believe.
9-8-10, Daniel flops a straight.
Jack Queen of Hearts.
He's also the godfather of soul reads.
So Daniel checked, Lex fired 2,200.
Another ill-timed bet by Lex. This time he's leading into the nuts. And Daniel's got a redraw to the super nuts.
Daniel repops to 6,600.
Lex can't love his hand.
Okay.
But he calls anyway.
Laboriously.
Tray of spades on the turn.
A lot of players would have slow played the nuts on the flop, but Daniel knows his opponent, and by raising, he's built a nice pot for himself here. Hoping he can squeeze another bet out of Lex.
This time he leads out to 11-2. Doesn't work. Lex folds.
What's the best possible hand you could have there?
Queen Jack of Hearts.
Yeah, that's what I got.
I had the Queen of Hearts.
Liar.
Bonomo's pants are breaking fire code.
What a 6-6 flop. Give him whatever he needed.
It was the Queen Jack of Hearts?
I had the Queen Jack of Hearts.
Wow, and I called it on the flop. You didn't hear me.
Oh, I heard you say it. Yeah, I did hear you say it.
Just like, shut up.
That shows you're supposed to keep your mouth shut.
Doyle's calling hands, and we're calling a timeout. The big game's back after this.
Lex is actually an abstract thinker. He's really into sort of like the metagame, the psychological warfare, and it's always fun playing with him, although I hate it.
I played with Lex probably about 3 times. He's got a reputation for being a really aggressive bluffer.
I don't know much about Lex, except he called a great big bet from me on 2 deuces. But I think he's probably one of the up-and-coming young players.
I started playing poker through Elke. He's a friend of mine. We both played the same kind of video games, and that's how we got to know each other. And then some people that played that video game got into poker and realized there was a game that they could make money off. So suddenly we could play games and make money at the same time. What drew me to poker was definitely the kind of man against man game. You have to get inside your opponent's head, and you have to kind of be stronger also, because there's a luck factor, so you cannot rely on skill completely. So it's really deep, and a lot deeper than you think at first sight. So it's just all the various aspects. I think it's a very complete game.
Lex has the respect of his peers, but Daniel picked off a huge bluff he made last night, and they're still talking about it right now.
Next time you put in 85,000, I think I'm going to call again. I just feel like it. I'm going to call again. That could be a level, but, you know.
No, it won't. You're just going to call again.
I'm just going to call. I've called every time, so what the hell?
Well, I mean, one time you're going to come to your senses. I really believed you changed.
You believed I changed?
Yes, I had faith, and then you just showed me.
I was folding, then I remembered, wait a minute,
my faith.
it's Lex. Lex knows how I think. He's trying to mess with my head. Just pay that guy off.
I just thought that you were going to play quality. And
Bonomo 3 bets after Lex raises. King Jack for Daniel.
Before tonight's game, Daniel told me he had really been working on his poker. Wouldn't know it by his results here so far. And it looks like he's toying with the idea of 4-betting King Jack offsuit.
Don't forget, the loose cannon is in the big blind and has yet to act. Daniel 4 bets to 13,000. And Russ is looking at pocket kings.
Call Russ the other Bolin girl. He's waking up with kings. Hopefully he knows what to do with them.
I raised the pot.
He raises to 46-2. Lex folds, and Bonomo.
You've got my number, as they say.
Easy to have your number with 2 kings.
You've got my number. That has to be like 2 aces.
You're on the right track.
I cannot be 2 aces. You are going to win.
A cold 5-bet basically reeks of aces.
Daniel folds.
This would be a perfect time to show a bluff, by the way.
Yeah, it would.
That felt like exactly aces.
It was exactly kings.
Nines?
Me? I did not have 9s, no.
And look how close Russ is to Nadia right now. If he can pass her by the end of 150 hands, he's going to take the lead for a chance to win that NAPT passport worth 50 grand.
Say one thing. Kickboxing is one of the few things that would be one of my least favorite things.
Well, the training towards becoming good at it is so intense, and it's so good for you.
It's good
be
for
just-
you?
Yeah.
Get kicked in the head?
Lex just started training for a prop bet kickboxing match versus fellow poker pro Elke.
It's good for you, getting kicked in the head, right?
Driving around the country playing home games with shotguns in the back of the car doesn't really increase your life expectancy either, so.
Yeah, but he made it.
Doyle prefers to have his kicker problems on the felt.
Doyle raised to 1,600. Pocket pair for Lex. He calls.
This should be a 5-card race, but Bonomo folded a 5.
But Lex hits the case 5, giving him a set. Doyle, however, has the nut flush draw.
Oh man, this is an action flop.
Doyle fires 2,500.
Lex ain't folding and his hand is disguised, so we might even see a raise. He'll want to charge Doyle if he's got a diamond draw, which we know he does.
There's the raise to 8,200.
Lex's image is likely to get Doyle to commit some more chips. That's one of the benefits of playing so nuts. You get paid when you have them.
Doyle re-raises to 33-2.
Looks like this re-raise from Doyle has given Lex some cause for concern. Either that or he's Hollywooding. It's possible Doyle could have a bigger set, but I don't think it happens often enough that you could ever fold this. On a board like this, it's almost impossible to fold a set because it's so much more likely you're facing a draw than a bigger set.
Lex calls.
I'm not sure if Lex loves his hand. He might want to see another card and reevaluate.
That next card is an 8, giving Lex a full house.
That eliminates any diamond fears Lex might have had, and it pretty much narrows down Doyle's hand to a bluff or a set of queens. That second 8 hitting makes pocket 8s way less likely. Looks like Doyle's about to commit some more money to this pot, drawing completely dead.
Fires 75 grand.
I'm all in.
Lex is all in.
Lex doesn't even have enough to make a full raise, so all in is just about his only move.
Maybe totally dead here. 20, 25, 35 more. About 40 more. It's the first hand, right?
Doyle has painted himself into a corner here. He's 37K more for a pot of 257,000. He's pot committed, which is a scary place to be when you're drawing dead.
37?
37-2.
Brunson calls and sees the terrible news.
Got ace.
He's got it. Let him have it.
Lex wins the biggest pot of the week. They'll run the meaningless river card. Wouldn't even have made Doyle his flush.
And just like that.
Lex Veldhuis has just scooped up a massive pot of nearly $300,000, and with that win, he begins to turn his losing week and losing streak around. His ultra-aggressive style finally pays off in a big, big way. Will it continue? Find out when we come back on the Big Game. Welcome back to Las Vegas, home of the Big Game, where we've already played over half the hands this week. So let's take a look at where our players stand. Barry Greenstein is our big winner so far. He's up about 160K, while Daniel is at the opposite end of the spectrum, stuck over 200 large. Once again, alongside Joe Stapleton, I'm Chris Rose. Now, those are some pretty big swings. Let's see if the stats can provide some insight. And Joe, I heard that VPIP, that's a pretty good place to start.
Yeah, you heard it from me. The range of our players voluntarily putting money in the pot is extremely wide. On one end, we have Lex Veldhuis playing 56% of hands, and on the other, Barry Greenstein is playing a paltry 12%. And no, Barry hasn't just fallen asleep. I've been watching. Barry has a pulse. It was faint, but we found one.
All right, Barry sure has been quiet, but the chips keep rolling in. How does the man do it?
To start, he's playing incredibly tight and aggressive before the flop, We just showed you that he's playing 12% of hands, and pre-flop he's raising 11% of hands, which means he's rarely involved and almost never when he's not the aggressor. Pardon the double negative. He's not winning many pots, but the ones he does win are monsters.
So, Joe, what is driving all the action at the table in this case?
3 letters, Chris, L-E-X. He's winning 17% of the pots pre-flop, which is more than most of our other players are winning total. He's always raising, seeing a ton of flops, and he's running circles around the rest of the table when it comes to post-flop aggression. As you can see, his aggression factor is more than 3.5 times that of the next highest player, Doyle.
But it doesn't always seem to be paying off for Lex, does it?
Lex is only showing us one gear and hasn't adjusted to the fact that these guys are only playing with him when they've got strong hands and only looking him up when they've got the goods.
All right, Joe, there's another guy who's definitely having some trouble at this table, Daniel Negreanu.
The stats on Daniel tell us that Daniel's been calling more than a clingy girlfriend. He's not folding the 3-bets pre-flop, he's not folding post-flop to continuation bets, and to add insult to injury, he's not folding the river either. He's getting killed on showdowns. Daniel is simply playing way too loose and passive.
All right, Joe, time to focus on the loose cannon, Russ Harlow, our father of 3 from Connecticut. Last week, he was playing very aggressively, but he seems a bit more timid this time around.
Well, he does have the uber-aggressive Lex sitting 2 seats to his left, which probably explains why he's not entering pots light.
That surely would affect anyone's play.
Is there rabbit hunt out here?
Yeah, you can.
They're charging $500 over in California to rabbit hunt.
They charge you $500. What, do you got to tip the dealer?
No, you put it in a pot for the next pot.
Does anyone actually pay that?
Yeah.
Is that in that secret game you got up in the mountains?
That's it, buddy.
With all your Hollywood money that you make?
Hollywood Doyle.
Pocket 10s for the cannon.
Doyle plays poker with movie stars now. He doesn't play with the poker players anymore. He plays in his secret hideaway game in LA. He has to walk. It must be a good game because he has to walk 5 flights of stairs with a crutch just to get to the game.
Oh no, why don't you play?
I don't play because I'm not Doyle Brunson.
Doyle called the cannon's raise.
Doyle plays in an exclusive Hollywood home game full of A-list celebrities. I can't tell you who plays in it, but one of them may have played a web-slinging superhero.
Veldhuis re-raised to 11 grand with queens. Bonomo and Barry are out.
Yeah, why not?
The cannon calls, so does Doyle.
Russ has implied odds, and Doyle, well, his spidey sense must be telling him not to fold.
King 8-7. Veldhuis checks.
Lex checks for pot control with the king and some draws out there. Russ might be reading Lex's check as weakness, however. If Russ makes a bet here, it would be for protection.
The bet is 18,000. Doyle folds.
Lex doesn't look convinced Russ has a king.
And so Lex calls.
He wants to see at least one more card.
The turn is the 3 of clubs. Lex checks.
Lex still playing cautiously. Russ is going to have to barrel this pretty hard to get Lex off queens. That might work.
There's that stare again. It scares me from here.
Brutal scare for such a funny guy.
Harlow checks. The river. The 7 of hearts.
Once Russ checks the turn, Lex is probably more confident about his hand, but I don't think it's worth too big of a value bet. Lex is trying to figure out the perfect size value bet based on the way Russ played the hand.
No value bet.
10s. That's 10.
Lex's queens hold up as he takes down over 70,000 in that pot. And though our loose cannon dropped 29 grand in that hand, it still could have been a whole lot worse. He still has more than 28,000 in profits. Harlow doesn't look happy, but Lex does.
So you do get hands too.
You know you had somebody rooting for you probably don't even know? A woman named Nadia Magnus. She was rooting for you that hand.
Will our leading loose cannon be cheering at the end of the session? Stick around to find out. Welcome back. After winning that last hand against the cannon and winning a huge one earlier against Doyle, Lex has amazingly fought back to turn a profit. He's with Amanda.
Lex, you've been all over the place this week. What's going through your head?
From hand one, it's been kind of crazy. I did everything to get the action going, and I've been involved in a lot of big pots. At this moment, I just feel very relieved that I got to get unstuck because, I mean, it's never really fun to be down 200,000, and now being even is kind of crazy, especially if you look that we're only 20 hands later. So
Yeah.
if you look at the amount of big pots within the amount of hands, it's insane.
Right.
I just seem to hold over Doyle a little, and but I'll take it. But it's a really tough spot for him, and I mean, I can only hope that I can keep my momentum going.
Well, I hope you can too. Since you're in the game, there's a lot more pots going on. So good luck, okay?
All right, thanks.
What a roller coaster ride it's been for Lex here on the big game, Joe.
Chris, Lex was getting crushed for a while, but he won that one monster pot and has been climbing his way back to Profitville ever since. His total swing is nearly $260,000.
That's why it's so much fun to watch Lex play. Speaking of so much fun, it's time yet again for our new segment on the big game where you, the viewer, get to experience what it's like to sit in the loose cannon seat. This is called Couch Cannon. We only will get to see Russ Harlow's cards. We are actually a part of Team Russ. We are straddling, so that means we'll be last to act pre-flop. Doyle folds. Lex is out. Bonomo raises to 2,500. Greenstein folds. Daniel re-raises to 8,000. Let's see what we've got. That's tens.
Well, we have the right implied odds to call with just about any pocket pair because if we flop a set, we can get someone's whole stack. But if we just call this bet, we let Justin in the door behind us, and we're probably going to hate whatever the flop is if we don't hit a set. Plus, these jackals are going to come at us no matter what, and I don't want to be in the position to have to get lucky. I think we have a decent enough table image to make a small 4-bet here.
Nope, we're just calling.
Now Justin's got even better pot odds to call with us just calling Daniel's bet. Looks like we didn't just let him in the door and we invited him to come stay for the weekend.
He 4-bets to 25 grand, and that gets a chuckle out of Daniel.
This is a bit of a squeeze play. Big time squeeze play, I should say. But that doesn't mean Justin doesn't have a hand.
Daniel folds his hand.
Bonomo was the original raiser, and this 4-bet might be meant to just isolate us, because Daniel could be just messing around a lot. But he 4-bet us, and he has to know that as the couch cannons, we're not just messing around calling 3-bets. So now we're in basically the same position as before, only now we're going to have to pay a lot more money to hate the flop.
All right, so you've laid it out there. What should we do?
I kind of wanted to fold to Daniel's 3-bet, and now I really want to fold to this 4-bet. It's entirely possible Justin's making a play, but with only 2 10s, I'm willing to let him get away with it. We're only going to love it if we hit a 10, and even if no overcards flop, we could be up against an overpair.
Remember, Russ had tens a few hands ago and got away relatively unscathed when he went up against Lex's queens. Let's see what we are able to do. And we fire a call.
I really don't like this call. Russ is risking a lot of his profits on this flop.
7 ace ace. So there are those overcards you talked about.
The fact that 2 of them flop makes it less likely that Justin has one, but we still have to wonder what the heck he was raising and then 4-betting with pre-flop. The book says we're supposed to check to the last aggressor.
We play it by the book.
Right now, we're just praying that Justin checks behind here and on every subsequent street, and hopefully 6th and 7th Street, too, if there would happen to be one.
That's called holding our breath.
Maybe Justin's just as afraid of the aces as we are. No.
Bonomo bets 30,000.
Even though the paired board makes this look relatively safe, I just don't think Justin's making this play with anything we can beat. Don't cap those cards again. We got to get out of here while we still have a few chips left.
We fold. Well, let's see what Bonomo had. Okay, Cowboys.
Clinkers.
So Bonomo wins a nice big pot.
We made the right laydown, but as far as I'm concerned, one street too late and $25,000 too short.
And now Russ is almost even. He's at $103,000.
You probably would have folded if he folded before the flop.
It's possible.
If by possible you mean 0%, then yes.
Doyle's on the straddle. Lex folds.
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
I don't know. I'm going to see it anyway.
Bonomo's out. Barry 2.
You're claiming the ace over there.
What?
You're claiming an ace?
No. Ace. Come on now. I'm going to raise.
Daniel announces a raise.
Let's see, I don't want to know what it is. I'm just guessing. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it 3,000 total. What the hell?
In pot limit, you may ask the size of the pot, but Daniel opts to eyeball it.
Jacks for Doyle. Calls.
Daniel's a 4-1 dog headed into this flop.
Which is 9-4-5, 2 spades.
This is a pretty good board for both hands, which means it's actually a really bad board for Daniel.
Daniel fires 5 grand.
Plus, Doyle didn't re-raise in position pre-flop, so his hand will be disguised. This is a great board for jacks.
Doyle shoves.
What in the world are you doing? This is so weird, Doyle.
Moving all in.
You got a flush draw or something?
Maybe.
Ugh, I always call him. How much has he got? I
75,000.
just give you so much money. It's unbelievable. Without me, what would your kids do without me, Doyle? What would your children do?
Here comes the pre-call moan.
What's that? Yeah, I'm proud. This is my pre-call mode. This is what it's doing.
Doyle has just made a risky play. He's beating Daniel, but he's risking 90K to win 10. It might be a winning play in the long run, but it's not optimal.
More than I thought I had again.
You just keep shipping like gazillions against me.
Whoops.
6,000.
No. Oh, yeah, you're right.
You lose value when they fold by not milking the streets and lose huge when you do lose.
This is ridiculous.
However, Doyle did get Daniel to call off super light earlier in the week with the same move.
So you got flush draw and something. I mean, you're trying to pretend you have a flush draw with this big silly bet. You have a 9 and a flush draw.
Doyle does seem to have Daniel confused.
Oh boy, I just gotta.
Daniel folds.
You're my hero, Doyle.
He ships the freaking 90. Couldn't you make it 15 or something?
We like young Doyle.
I play small ball.
Doyle was hoping for a call, but he got some laughs instead. Doesn't seem to mind. What might the Hall of Famer say next? The Doyleisms watch continues right after this. Welcome back to Las Vegas, home of the big game. Cards are in the air. Lex is straddled, so that means the action's going to start on Justin Bonomo.
Justin looks like he's about to cross the street.
He's out. Barry folds. Daniel's out on the button. Ace-9 suited for the cannon.
Raise.
Raises to 3,000. Doyle folds. Lex calls.
What do I have again?
What?
I was trying to look at my cards. I couldn't remember.
You didn't remember what you had?
I just looked at them.
Can't be anything big then. You would remember.
Ace-4 tray, 2 clubs. Top pair for Harlow, who bets 5,000.
Let's see if Lex sticks to his read. He thinks Russ would have remembered an ace.
Lex calls with middle pair. 8 of clubs on the turn.
Neither player holds a club. Russ seems pretty confident.
He fires 13 grand. And Lex folds.
I don't know.
Wow, you're in that territory again, huh?
Yep, down a little this week, but up overall.
Are you back around the 100 mark?
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Oh, snap.
Uh-oh, we may have action again.
Gamble time.
Huh?
Gamble time. I was playing.
No, I know you were.
Then a 4-3 suited.
No, I guess
Russ
that.
is actually up 12,000. We'll have to see if he protects it or continues to gamble up.
Action begins on the cannon. Jack 8. Not going to mix it up this time. Neither will Doyle. Pocket pair for Lex.
Tens have been dicey tonight.
Raised to 1,400. Bonomo with aces.
Justin just won a decent pot off Russ in the couch cannons a few hands ago with pocket kings.
Re-raises.
He picked up the king 4 all of a sudden.
Daniel folds. Back to Lex. Just calls.
Justin Bonomo, the 4-1 favorite here.
6-5-5 on the flop.
This is a bad flop for Lex because it's going to look pretty innocuous to him.
He checks. Bonomo fires 5,000.
Going to be tough for Lex to fold this for just one bet.
You're right, he calls. The turn. 5 of hearts. Both get a full house. Bonomo a better one. Veldhuis checks.
Justin has the third nuts, only behind the quads, and 6 is full. Should be a safe bet for him.
Bonomo bets 16,000.
Justin's hoping Lex has some kind of pair, and Lex could get into some real trouble here if he gets frisky.
Veldhuis calls. The river. King of spades. Lex checks.
Justin's probably only worried about Lex maybe hitting a set of kings there, and even then, that's not too likely. So Justin's going to want to come up with the right size bet to get max value. We know Lex would probably pay off something here, but Justin's got to put him on a hand first. It's possible that king may save Lex some money. It is a scare card.
Bonomo bets 42,000.
Justin's chosen to bet a little less than the pot. This might be too much since his line's been so strong the entire hand.
Lex lays it down.
Tough to lay down a full house, but he was crushed the whole way.
And just like that, Lex is back in the red.
And that's why king 4 is better than 4-3.
That's why, huh?
And another little needle into Lex from our big winner here so far. Bonomo's now up over 175 grand, and Greenstein's also way up.
Doyle's stuck, and Daniel's majorly stuck. And though our loose cannon Russell Harlow took some hits to his stack, he still has a small profit with just 60 hands left to play.
All right, guys, that's it for tonight. As the Loose Cannons roller coaster ride continues, Russ's chase for the passport has hit a speed bump, but the action at this table has been anything but slow. Tune in tomorrow night to see where it goes. I'm Amanda Leatherman saying goodbye for now, and remember, if you've got the cash and the guts, there's always a seat open at the big game. Good night, everybody.
For Joe Stapleton, I'm Chris Rose. See you tomorrow night.
You're killing it.
Doing well?
You like the big game, right?
I love it. Have me back more often.
Is that up to me?
You're going to have to straddle, and you're not folding 3-4 spades.
You always say if there's a seat open or what, there's always a seat open. I'll take it. Next time you have a seat open, let me know. I'll come back.
Okay.
The preceding was a presentation from PokerStars.com.